All right, we just wrapped up with Joel Barbour, just talked about business. He has built many, the Great Pacific Northwest being one of the most notable. Some of the challenges, some of the things that he overcomes, the balance between family and building businesses, and really just life in general. It was really good chatting with him. I can't wait for you guys to check it out. Thanks for coming on, and just really looking forward to kind of reconnecting around. We had you on like 2 years ago, and this was like the beginning of
it's crazy.
Was of like the Seahawks stuff, and there was a lot of exciting things happening since then. I know, so but really interested in kind of the mentality, I would say. Because it takes a special person to do what you do on a daily basis.
It's fun, so it's not too hard.
So is that what is that what makes the grind a little?
Are we this is the podcast?
We're run it, yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we were just chatting or if you.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what this is. I don't want you to tell the difference.
No, because seriously, sometimes you get in where you just chat for a while, and then you get into it. Mm-hmm. That's what I was asking, Mike. No, it's great. My approach is, it's changed. Like, it's changed a lot because I've been, I guess, doing it professionally, like making a living, doing my own businesses now at this point for like a decade. But when I was younger, like my business partner, Grayson, with Bison Printing, that was awesome because him and I, growing up as kids, middle school, were just like trying to make different businesses, doing websites, flipping stuff on eBay.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Like, just from a young age, making fake season passes for people.
Dude,
no way.
Yeah. And that's where I started doing graphic design because I had Microsoft Paint, and his family, this is when digital cameras were like a first thing. Like, will date me, 37 years old. So digital cameras are a thing, and his family had one. So we would go up, we'd put somebody just on a white wall, take their picture, put it in Microsoft Paint, print it out, laminate it on like a library card, and say, just put it in a pass holder, and you're good. This is before they scan passes.
Oh, this is for skiing.
Skiing.
Oh, my God, genius.
Yeah. So that was like, we did that for a few people.
Nobody would even expect
Were you charging?
Yeah.
Well,
maybe like $20.
Yeah,
and like when we were kids, like $20.
Because you wanted to get your friends to come. It's just like, I'll just make you a pass.
Yeah. And we already had passes, so we just scanned them. And
the Lyft guy is like, what? He's just getting paid by the hour. Like, he's not tripping.
Yeah, he doesn't care. So, just different stuff. One of the best ones I had, like, that was like legitimate, like put gas in my tank, like for majority of high school when I was driving, was I would go through, so my brothers and I and a lot of our buddies, we raced motocross. So like motocross magazines where, you lived and breathed those. This is pre-Instagram. So I would go to every company, and my uncle was a sales rep in the ski industry. So I learned some terms. So I'd go through all the ads. I'd go to like fmfracing.com, and I would go info@fmfracing, and I'd say, hey, I just opened a store. I'd make up like a name, a fake like store name. I need some point of sale materials, like some stickers or anything you can send for like our grand opening. And depending on how they're structured, dude, they would just send stuff in the mail over and over.
Oh,
and
so
over.
One email would just unlock a geyser.
And some would be like, they were like, their stuff was locked down. Like, go talk to your local rep. They'll get you what you need.
And you're like, fuck.
But like, I remember one of the best. We were just so stoked. I think there's still a brand. Do you remember Sobe? It came in a glass, had
Oh.
2 lizards on it.
Yes, dude.
Yeah, that's what you took gravity bongs out of back in the day.
So Sobe, we would like hit them up, and they send us like all these business, like probably 250 like business cards that were just for a free Sobe drink. And we're like, but what's weird, it was valid anywhere they sold Sobe. So like gas station, grocery store, and like get a bunch of stickers and stuff. We're like, this is incredible. Like, so like you're 15 years old, 16 years old, like just gas station and
Just screwing around, man. And like kind of like this is so preemptive to what you're going to become. And you know, when you enter this fucking adulthood where there's all this other crazy stuff that you weren't privy to when you were 15, you were just like,
like how could we? And then we'd put that stuff on eBay. We'd put all these stickers on eBay and sell them. And then because it's hard to track down all these different companies, so we would put like 10 different companies or like 100 stickers.
Yeah,
and
like a
people-
sticker
like
run.
a sticker pack. Yeah, they call them lots. So here's a 100 sticker lot. And
What do you
like,
get for a 100 sticker
I
lot
don't
of
know, probably
brands?
$50 or something.
Well,
yeah,
shit.
but I got them for free.
Yeah,
you know?
from
you're
nothing
15.
to fucking something,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah.
Like that's the best.
And Grayson had this is so funny because he had a website called snowsuperstars.com, which is funny looking back because he was like, I want to do like a blog and do all the local mountain. Like we had a digital camera and we were filming video and we were putting videos online like pre-YouTube. And that was like really hard to do.
damn.
So then I was drawing up like the flyers and stuff for the events. And this always cracks us up. And this is funny. So Grace and I, so with Bison Printing, I'm like pretty hands off. I literally just have a meeting with Grayson once a week where we sit down and just what's going on. We mostly talk about golf, but we just laugh at like we're still doing the same thing here, like just 20 years later, just at a way different scale. Now there's like employees, but we're still just jackasses.
Yeah.
Like it's just funny
With a little bit of legitimacy in there.
Yeah,
It's like, that's
and
awesome.
like I'm still doing design stuff. He's still kind of the business side of Bison. I mean, what he does at Bison. I mean, he's grown that business so well, and it's because of who he is and the team he's hired and the people there and just the culture. You know,
cool.
That integrity. I know it's like when you have people that have, you know, the kind of drive and creativity that you and Grayson have. It sounds like it's like, you know, some people take that and they squander it. Some people have like that integrity, that work ethic to actually scale that. So that's what's so interesting to me because a lot of people fail, and especially when it comes to clothing, things like that's a tougher business.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Than opening. I mean, it's a tougher business. So talk to me a little bit about how, honestly, what I'm really curious right now is kind of how social media, because you were using the internet before. Sounds like a lot of people were using it for what you were using it for and leveraging it to to get free stuff and stuff like that. So I know the internet was a big part of your come up with the great PNW. How is that kind of relationship from then up?
Instagram specifically, and that was one, you know, that had kind of came to be a few years, you know, before I started, and I was actually like a user on it, so I really studied the platform. Same thing before we launched a Kickstarter. I studied, and then I realized like when I wanted to start the Great PNW was, well, I would take road trips with my buddies all around the Northwest, you know, all the time. Like we'd always do one big trip a summer that'd be like a week, 10 days, just camping, skating. And I was like, there's no cool brand that's like, you know, Pacific Northwest love, unless you like at a gift shop or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, how do I encapsulate that? And I realized how community driven what we were doing at the time, especially with skateboarding. Like not a lot of people know this, but I cut my teeth learning design, video, motion graphics through skateboarding. Like I had a couple like full length skateboard premieres. One was at the Garland, and it was like standing room only. Like it thing was fucking packed out. Like,
Whoa.
Oh, cool.
Like, I've never been to.
And when was this? This was
12 years ago, probably right before I like maybe 11 years. Like I that was the last one I did, but it was like it was just that time in my life where I had the time to do it, and then I was always doing skateboard designs and t-shirt designs for my other buddies' skate shops and stuff, and they were just like, man, people are buying these as wall hangers. They're not even skating them. These are just selling really fast. And then I was like, and doing all the road trips, I'm like, man, I could I could do this. So, and then the big thing with Instagram is like, you realize it's social media, like it's a community. And I was like, okay, how can I make a really genuine community? I'm never going to buy a follower. Not going to do a million hashtags or all those kind of weird, fluffy hacks that aren't going to give you a real genuine following. But it's interesting because we've seen this totally shift from, like, your follower count used to really matter.
Yeah.
But now with the algorithm, it's this this holy thing you have to bow down to that's always changing. It's just goofy. And now, we have over 200,000 followers, but it doesn't mean anything.
They pay no respect to what you've built.
No. And what's crazy is like when I look back at, I wish I would have ran more photos of like our product, but I didn't want to do that quite yet. So I kind of did. I had this system to it where we'd show some products, some photos of like lifestyle, like scenic photos. Because I had a ton, because I was shooting a ton of film.
That's how it blew up from me, from an outside standpoint,
Yeah.
right? Like you would just see just dope ass photos. But these aren't just like, run of the mill photo. These are fire photos. Like, So I was just, that's how I knew your brand. So this sounds like this is a piece of your puzzle.
So we're kind of going back to that now, actually. It's kind of coming full circle. So that's what helped me. I would sprinkle in some product photos. 'Cause I'm like, if people love the PNW, and that was even calling it the Great PNW, there's a Google tool you can use, and it's pretty funny. You can see like trends when something's searched on Google. Like the term PNW, like if you type it in, it's like this little tool they have. You see as the second we like became in existence, it's just like skyrocketed. And I'm like, and I've seen it, I'm like, oh, you see more of these PNW this, PNW that. And I'm like, we had to have some role in it. And then it's sure enough, you look at it, it's like from 2013, it just goes. And I'm like, oh, it's pretty. And I truly feel like we played a role in that.
That's gotta feel pretty cool, man. How you can just affect.
I mean, that is what's weird. It's weird because we ship out all over the country, and like, but looking back, I realized like we were running free ads and I didn't even know it. Like, and I should have leaned in more, because what we were doing for free 6 years ago now costs us $200,000 a year. Yeah. Like,
because you actually,
because you have to pay. You have to pay to, and
yeah. Once the algorithm, like, they caught on that people are making crazy money here.
Yeah, but I
remember that switch. Too.
Yeah. So it was like this thing, and now we're just totally throttled, and it all pencils out. We have a great marketing agency we use, that they're here locally, and it's great, and it's super measurable. So I don't say I don't mind, but I'd rather have it be free than a few $100,000.
When you're looking back, it's like, damn, dude, we were just, because you guys were getting huge traction on these great photos.
Yeah, totally.
And so what's kind of a trip too, it's like people would drive to a location and they would go there, and there would be a gift shop where you could buy a PNW, a Pacific Northwest shirt, right? You brought that online where you would bring us the scenery and then give us the gift shop right there.
Oh, people would email us like, I went there because you posted it, and it's there's a flip side of that, because there's some people who are like, don't post the location, we don't want people to know. And I'm like, if people are really that adventurous and they make it out there, like, it's not your secret spot, you know, like we put these out there so people can enjoy this.
A couple hundred people can see the forest.
People are really mad about that. They're like, no, man, that's my spot.
There's some people who they would definitely. And I'm like,
showing my fishing hole, dude.
That's it.
We all want less people when you go to the spot.
Us too. These just aren't our spot that they're talking about.
Like you see the picture and it looks so peaceful, and then you look behind the picture and there's like 80 people all there. Like, man.
That shit's real too. All those pictures you see like that. It's like everyone's taking the same photo. Like, fuck. So
man.
Yeah. So that's kind of how we use it now, and truly, we just hired a girl. She's amazing. Her name's Ollie. She's 23. But it was like the first time I hired somebody for a position. Like I truly, like I've kind of lost grasp of like what kids are doing. What's happening on like TikTok, even like Instagram to some extent. I've kind of forced myself to kind of reuse the tools, because I'm like, I haven't been in that.
It's changed.
It's changed so much. But like Ollie, I'm like, what do we need? And she's actually, it was kind of cool because we hired her as a model. And I was just talking to her on the shoot. I'm like, what do you do for a living? She's like, I'm actually like an influencer on TikTok. She has like 100,000 followers. So she understands content creation. She goes, I actually applied for a job with you like 2 years ago but you told me no, because she was still in college and we need somebody in Spokane. I was like, gosh, I thought you looked so familiar. So we had her and her friend, and I didn't hire the model, so I didn't know, but I was there on the shoot. And so that was the first time I hired somebody who I'm like, I don't know, Ollie, you need to tell me. I mean, and you were 13 years old when I started this company. You were in middle school. Like, it's weird. It's really weird.
So this is probably a really important part of like business in general, right? When you start kind of scaling up a little bit, especially to lean on people who can kind of tap into some of those things and can make your business stronger in those aspects. Yeah. Is she the one that's been on social media doing stuff?
Yeah, totally. And it's funny because she's already pretty popular from her TikTok. Like, she says she will travel around and people will be like literally, she said she was in San Francisco, Colorado, whatever, and people know her from her personal brand. And she's awesome. Now it's like double, because now I'm in Spokane and people are seeing, because we're putting also ad dollars behind her content, so we're pushing it. And and she's like the only girl we have on staff. So, and she loves it. She totally fits in with everybody. And awesome. It was a good dynamic for the culture of like just a bunch of bros. I've literally just had all my buddies for the last like 10 years. For the most part, we've had a couple girls here.
Yeah, but I love that. It's really cool, especially just age too, you know? Yeah. We're just right there with you. When I'm 36, about to be 37. So it's cool when you just being around younger people who can give you a different younger perspective. I like to be tapped in, especially when you're running a business and a lot of young people buy your stuff.
Totally. Yeah. And that's where I'm like, we have to stay relevant like this. And we've had some competitors kind of somewhat come into our space, but that's where for me I take a handle of that from like a business perspective, but from a creative perspective, I'm really leaning on my team to like, you know, I have a graphic design background, you know, so that's when I still have to really creative direct everything, and I am learning that sometimes I really need to rein things in. I want to give my team as much, you know, freedom to be as creative as they can, but sometimes I might give too much because I want people to feel like they can do whatever they want, but then I'm not doing my job as a creative director. Like, okay, that is off brand. We really shouldn't have run with that. And they do it same as me. They know the brand really well. Like, I have some crazy idea. They're just like,
it's off brand.
Don't do that. Like, I was going to put up a billboard that said Kanye 2020, like downtown. And my team was like, don't. Like, I was like, it'll just say paid for by the great PNW, like real small. Yeah. And he was on the ballot, like in Idaho, like, which is crazy.
Kanye was?
Yeah, like straight up. Yeah. Like, you could have voted for him. Is that insane?
Idaho?
Yeah. It wasn't like in every state. Like, he made it in a few different states. Printed. Yeah.
That cost him so much, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but those type of things, like if it was just me solo running, like making those decisions, I would have ran with that. I mean, we don't have to go too deep. Everybody knows about the billboard with the bears fucking on it, but like that was because I was just siloed. I'm like, I'm just gonna do this. This is hilarious, and nobody's gonna stop me.
But how epic was that?
And
that
it turned out great.
That became.
And so it's really tough to take outside input when you're like, dude, do you know what my billboards do?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Like sometimes I hit, sometimes I miss.
Yeah, and that's just part of the like the creative psychoness of it. Like, sometimes you just have to, like, everybody would have told me no. They would have said, don't do that.
Well, one of the biggest parts of a brand, I feel like, is recognizability. And definitely those two bears fucking.
Oh, I know.
It was one of those moments where.
Huge hockey stick. Everybody, that's right when I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah,
you know, everybody was paying attention.
You already knew what it was, but then it was
exactly.
like it started to ramp up a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely in Spokane. And I think that also the misconception is people, I just had somebody talk to me about this the other day. They're like, oh man, yeah, that must have really set you off to like, boom, like your business really took off, as if like that was like the thing. And I was like, no, we were already going. I go, if you look at like our sales, even like that year and we dropped it, like it's less than 0.5% of like what we sold, you know, and it's still now we still sell a ton of it, but that's what's great is we have like best selling items, but like nothing makes up more than 1 to 1.5% of our overall. So like if we lose a product,
which is good,
we're not gonna be like just fucked. You know?
Yeah. Because you can sleep at night saying we just got to keep creating, really, because people love it. I just got to keep
like everything that you make, and you guys stay really solid. So that's I was gonna ask you that too about your design team, because I was very interested in who comes up with and how they come up with it. Like, you know, do they all just spitball in a room and kind of just play around, or like how do those meetings go to come up with a new design, like what we're gonna do?
Yeah, you guys just have to come by the office sometime and check it out. It's,
for real?
I mean, yeah, we have a skate ramp, we have a golf simulator there. If you guys ever need a photo studio for something, I let my buddies use the photo studio. Cool. You know, and it's we got a gym there if you guys want to use a gym. Yeah. Dude. So
sweet. I drive by all the time. The building got bigger in the last year.
Yeah, it did.
Years.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And there's a fucking van on top of it.
Yeah, I know. That was funny. Yeah, that van, I got a new one and I was like, well, fuck, what are we going to do with this one? I'm like, and which is it. And I'll answer that question in the creative process. But that our other box van had like, that thing just went tits up. But my business partner, Ramsey's like, dude, I got a van. He owns Hello Sugar. He's like, I got a van. He's like, and he's just like so smart. He's like, dude, I already got the tax credit for it. It's paid for. Like, dude, just have it. And I'm like, seriously? He's like, he goes, literally, I don't need the money for this thing. Take it. So we took it, wrapped it. So we had a new van. And then I was like, what am I going to do with this other one? And we were putting on the addition on our contractors. Like, let me link you up with the dude. Text this guy. He's like, be there Saturday at this time. I'm like, okay. Coming down the road, this guy's just driving. These are like big forklift, like it's a tractor. I think these are like 20-foot forks.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Driving down the road, I'm like, oh my God, this guy comes, puts it up on that Connex box that I bought.
Yeah.
That shipping container. Puts it up there. I'm like, all right, like you didn't tell me how much you want for this. I got a couple quotes and it was like $1,200, $1,500 to lift this thing. But my buddy Steve, Romaine, who built the addition on the building, he's like, he linked me up with this guy. He's like, you're a clothing company, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, just give me like 2 hoodies. I go, okay, do you want to come get him? He's like, no, I actually work at the rental place down the street and my boss is gone right now. So I took this over here real quick. I got to get it back before he comes back. I was like, what?
That's savage.
So just drove it like 3 blocks down Broadway.
Yeah.
So, or Alki, whatever that road is.
It's all about who you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's how like all of it is. It's like who do you know, and it all just works out in the wash. And the more we can, with all this stuff, not have money exchanged, it makes things so simpler. Because once you get money involved, then it makes things can get really weird. And like for us, we just focus on like be really good to people, make sure everybody's happy. We're smart enough to make money. The money will work itself out. We might not even discuss money for a month down the road if we're talking about a project or something, because that's not the number one goal. We all assume, we understand enough about what's going on that it's going to pencil, and then we will get down and really pencil shit out. But like, it never starts there. Nothing we really do that I can think of is ever just like about the money,
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's that. I hear that saying, and that holds true. It sounds like it's like if you lead thinking about money, then you're gonna run into some issues. But you gotta kind of find those end goals.
And it just makes like if that is your barometer, if that is what has to be going well to equal success. Well, fuck, if that goes south, then you're not successful, then you're not happy, and you're bummed on like what the end goal was. But if it's just like, look, for me, if everybody's happy and say we're getting good brand awareness, the money happens and the money makes sense. And it's just, that isn't even a piece of it, Mm-hmm. There are parts with business where we look at something like, oh, that's really lucrative, let's do this. Mm-hmm. Or yeah, we're going to take a smaller margin here, but let's do it because it's cool. We want to do it. We're not going to make a ton of money, but like, let's do it because we're happier for it, But back to the design process. I mean, a lot of that is, if you guys know Josh Wing, he's like my main designer. He does a lot of the heavy lifting on the t-shirt design. Sometimes I just sketch him up something. I'm like, here, can you draw this? A few times, a little bit. If he's just getting bombarded with design stuff, I'll hire some freelancers. Same thing. Here's a sketch. Can you just draw this up for me? We'll tweak it. But it's like gnarly how much stuff we have to put out, especially when we're doing now custom cut and sew like jackets and bags. And I'm designing like a house slipper right now. I'm like, I just want a bomb house slipper that you could just like put on. And if I want to walk around the block with my kids, I can. Or like
hard bottom, or
so it's got like a hard sole, but it's like it's got one where you could smash the back of it if you wanted to, so you can slip it on like a slipper.
I like that.
But if you need to go to the grocery store, you totally can. So I was getting some samples of that done this week. they were sending those over, making some tweaks to it. But yeah, so like that's like more intense type of design, and that's like a longer runway. That's where we're looking like, 6, 8, 12 months out to start that process with those manufacturers. And so the design is like I try to like keep everything reined in, give good creative direction, but a lot of it is just like, what do we want to do?
So then everything comes back and gets approved by you. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
And so when did you start like branching out? What was it first? Was it first just T-shirts, or like in the very beginning?
It was just like T-shirts. And dude, we were doing like our first runs of shirts. We had a handful of designs. Was only like 15 units, which is funny now because now I own a print shop and we won't even do 15 units. Like we'll do like 24. I think it's like the minimum, maybe 50.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was literally in my basement on an IKEA shelf, like a 9 cube. This was 15 shirts, 15 shirts, 15 shirts, and I had a goal of like I want to sell 1 shirt a day. And then that money kind of came in. That okay, let's do some more shirts and maybe some hoodies, and let's do some headwear, and it's just evolved from there. Then I built an office in my backyard. I think it was 600 square feet total. 300, 2-story. Shipped from the bottom. My office was up top. That's where I had a first part-time employee shipping stuff for me.
Wow.
Then I moved over to Monroe, rented a place. But this is where the business side is like this. I really do love the numbers. I love this stuff where it's like, when we were on Monroe, I realized like how much we were paying for rent. I was really, really fortunate enough with the market to like, where we were, I was able to buy a half acre where we're at now. And then maybe like a year and a half or so later, we developed it, which looking back now, didn't know what I was getting myself into developing from the ground up. That was, I probably wouldn't do that again.
Probably just should have bought a building and use the stick frame or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I looked at a few, but like at what I knew what I wanted to do, I'd have a contractor come in, they're like, yeah, it's going to be like, probably $200,000 to renovate. And to me, like at the time, I'm like, that's an insane number. But now looking back, I'm like, that would have been nothing compared to like now this building that we have now with the addition is like, it cost me over $1 million. Like, and I've never felt like sick to my stomach looking at finances. I remember the first time like they got done with all the construction, the loan like turned over like over $1 million. I see like that many zeros to like what I owe, and I'm just like, fuck, really? Like, and that's just like in the business side. That's not even like my house too, and I'm just like, fuck,
sell some fucking shirts.
Yeah, sell some fucking shirts. But the thing is, I can lean on like I already did the math. I already know what we're doing. Like these businesses pay for this. So then I started HHR Properties. So that's a completely separate business. And built that, and that's where like for me, from a business standpoint, I could make more money as if I wanted to as like a landlord, but like I'm not a landlord. That's not what I care about. It's not what I want to do. I also value both the companies that are in here and the people who work there. So I actually only charge 10% over what I pay. So both my businesses then have, lower rent that's not going up. I can't, because I mean my rent went up like 30%, like when I was on Monroe, and I was like, man, that's like $500 with that. So, but now we're like locked in. So, but I make my money on the asset because the asset is actually appreciated in value higher than what I even pay for it on a year because of the way the economy is right now. And just like the housing market is like, when you're in a recession, the one thing that is stable and goes up is real estate. And it's like, and now looking back, like, fuck, I wish I would have had the funds to like buy more real estate back when I bought this one piece of property. But I do feel extremely fortunate that and it wasn't like I was looking to get into real estate. It was literally like, this is a need and I can buy this and it'll be cheaper for me to own than to go rent someplace. So
that's a smart move.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like, you're where you're at right now because you've made those investments in yourself constantly.
Yeah.
And especially when it didn't seem like, it's just easy to look at it when it's already built here where you're at right now.
Yeah.
But, that grind, I mean, that's just who you are, man. So I really respect that shit. It's really sick. I'm on the website. I was looking at all the different shit you guys do now because you went from shirts, hoodies, with some hats, maybe stuff.
Yeah.
Now you got freaking air fresheners, socks. I want this upper left map. I feel like that.
Dude,
that
that thing's dope. Huh?
I want it. I'm gonna get this. That shit is so fire.
Yeah, dude, I'll get you one. I dreamt about that thing for like a long time, and then finally I just like hired a designer to do it because I'm like, nobody has time to like do this,
Dude.
because I knew exactly what I wanted, and I was like, you know what, this looks like an old school map with all the little locations,
Yeah.
all hand drawn,
Dude, perfect, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I love the freaking the fanny pack.
Oh yeah, dude, those fanny packs are dope.
Dude,
yeah.
I love this shit. Blankets, you got fucking boxes, you got cheeky briefs.
Yeah.
Okay,
Totally.
you got cheeky briefs.
I forget about half this stuff. That's
See,
like,
this is
yeah.
fucking awesome. You guys have so much awesome shit, man. Like, you know, yeah, it's just really cool to see how far you guys have came in that aspect of just widening the different things that you guys offer. And you guys have a store now over in Kendall Yards.
Yep. That opened in February. It was open for a few months. We had a flood. It just reopened. The dude started a fire up above us with a candle. Sprinklers came, flooded the store. Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah, dude. It was like they had
Dude,
to take out like a majority of our ceiling. And this is one where I really had to, and I was like really like I guess proud of myself and the work I've done over the years of like I was golfing with two of my buddies and or three of my buddies, and I get the call. I get a missed call followed by a video of just water pouring through this like $20,000 light fixture we had made, and I'm like, okay, call our store manager. I'm like, Sean, what's going on, dude? He's like, there's a fire. He's freaking out. I'm like, is the fire department there? Yeah, they're on they're here. I'm like, is Tim there? Tim's like my right hand. He does a ton of shit, but he loves handling stuff like this. He's like, Tim's here. I go, okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. And I just had to like not let this interrupt this great time I was having with my friends. And we were maybe on like 11th, 12th hole. And I just had like this, it was with Ramsey, Tyler, and I feel bad I'm blanking on who else was golfing with us that day. Maybe Grayson. But and I just show Ramsey, I was like, our store flooded, dude. And he's like, well, let's worry about it tomorrow. Like, and he was just like, he made a joke, like an insurance claim type joke.
But you got good friends.
He's like, looks like we just sold those e-bikes or something. Yeah. Later find out we were underinsured, so that sucked.
Oh,
but
no.
It would end up being okay, but it definitely almost had to have like lawyers involved. That wasn't fun. But there was this time where I was just like, I need to really practice what I preach of like nothing should be able to knock me off out of like my happiness. Something shouldn't be able to take my energy that I'm completely out of control of. There's no amount of stress that comes out of me is going to fix what just happened. And I was just like, and I didn't think about it for like a day or two. And then I went over there and then I saw it all wrapped in plastic and stuff. And I was like, oh fuck, this is bad. Yeah. And then it kept getting worse and worse because like we get a report every day from the company. Oh, we're finding water here. We're finding water there. We got to tear this out.
So it's constant stress, but
yeah.
I mean, the ability to be able to have that mindset, you know, where you're able to, I mean, what you just said, where it doesn't knock you off what you're trying to do right now, because I feel like that's something I struggle with. You know, I'm so emotionally volatile, you know, to an extent where I'm trying to keep myself even keel, but then if bad stuff happens, sometimes it just affects you.
Yeah.
And then trying to just not let it bring you to a place where you become negative or you're like, you know, because you'll start like just thinking about it. You know,
Totally.
it can really fuck you up. And I feel like that gets a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's something, you know, I'm really good at like my head doesn't really spiral. Like if something bad happens, like I know people who do. They have bad anxiety, and it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I ever really lost, but I used to stress a lot. Everything was stressful, blah, blah, blah. And what's hard is now, I think now I've kind of turned, like, even if I have a lot going on that might be stressful, like, I don't register it as stress. Sometimes my body might take it on as stress, but I just think I'm busy because I truly just try to be happy all the time. And so I might get, like, exhausted. I'm like, oh, maybe... because nothing's like really stressing me out. I think sometimes I just go. So that's where I do have to, even though I'm not stressed, I do have to, you know, take an audit of like, how much am I doing? Yeah. And not even stressed, but how much am I thinking about? How much stuff is taking my mental capacity?
Because you'll wear yourself.
I try my really, really best. And there are signs that I've learned about myself to know when I'm taking too much on. And once those things start happening, that's why I like take a step back. That's where I start saying no to. I actually took like a 60-day period where I'm saying no to everybody who, if I don't know you, I do a really good job already saying no to people like who want me, like some dude hit me up today about a podcast. I'm like, no, like not going. I don't know you. I don't have the time or the mental capacity right now. Maybe I will, but I took it like, and it was kind of nice. A lot of people can't really respect that, even when I hate sending that email.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you're gonna have to hit me up in like 2 months. I know it sounds crazy, but like I need to focus right now, and I can't have my energy taken some other way, because what that does, it not only affects me, but it affects my family. You know, it's time away from my family, time away from my kids and my wife, because that's where I have to go make up my work hours. Is like late at night, you know, and early mornings, and I don't want to be on my phone answering emails, because the only time I have to do it, if somebody needs, especially because we do a lot of overseas production. So like if I don't get to it during the day, they're working at night. So they're ping my phone on WhatsApp. So like if I can take care of that, then those manufacturers aren't bugging me at night. So I would have, but I have to keep that stuff going. And so that I just have to say no.
There's a lot to balance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is business.
Yeah.
Right. Which is a big part of it.
Yeah.
But you don't even you don't even take into account a man's mental health when you have this whole other responsibility now. Like you said, you know, that actually struck me when you were like, and this is just the business. This isn't even like my home.
Yeah.
This isn't even everything else.
So that's like one business.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little, I mean, how are you able to do so much and build so much and dedicate so much and you know, because I know you just brought a kid into the world not long ago.
Yeah, Zenny, yeah.
So,
9 months.
So talk about how, like, you know, how it is, you know, being a dad of multiple and
we have four kids, and like we like love them. You know, I mean, you have kids, Cody. Like, they're so unique and individual, and like on paper, it's like this is fucking crazy. But it's like we're also like maybe we'll have more. I don't know. Like we love all of them. You know, and what's crazy is they all only know me as like business owner dad. They only ever know that like, oh, it's this crazy warehouse, or now there's a store. Now we just opened a pizza restaurant. They're like, now we get to go to dinner at Thunder Pie. Like, you know, and it just they love it, and they also get to enjoy the fruits of like all that hard work too, you know? And what's even bigger is like I know the kids somewhat recognize this, definitely my oldest, but like he sees my work ethic, because I saw this in my dad, not fully the exact same way, but I'll wake up at 5, go to the office, work out, get some work done, be back home between 7:15, because I'm like 10, 15 minutes from my office. So then I'm there for the kids, but like Davis will hear me pull up, and he'll look out his window. He'll run out. I got my gym bag, gives me a hug, and like, but he knows I already went to work, and then I'm back here to be there with him
before he even got up.
Yeah. And that's the thing, before fucking everybody got up.
Yeah.
And that's for me. I know my work ethic, and I'm not saying I work harder than anybody, because there's a lot of single mothers who are fucking struggling who work way harder than I do.
Yeah.
I try to work extremely hard, really smart, and I do it a lot. But I also have a lot of downtime because of it. I think that's one thing. I don't wake up at 5, go to bed at 11, and just constantly work. I do know I work more than most people, but I know I also want my life to be different than most people. I know I love all the things I do more than most people. So it's easier for me to pour myself into it. But I mean, you can ask my team. There are days like today, I got in my office and I closed the door and I closed the windows, and Josh, and I came out like for 2. I'm rarely at my desk for like 2 hours. And he's like, you're busy today. I'm like, yeah. And I joke, I go, don't talk to me, I gotta go. And he just kind of laughed, you know, like, I don't have time to talk to you. But it's like rare that I come out, chop it up with the team, see what's going on, you know, as they come rolling in. But I literally just, I did not have the time to have like any distractions. And that's why I like working in the mornings. But like, dude, sometimes at night, like I hit a wall and like I need to go rest. It's rare that I'm working into 11, 12, 1, 2 a.m. Like, that's just not my style. I do have to do it from time to time. But the motivation is just like, I really fucking love it. And I love what it does for me personally, and really the the self-awareness and like what I'm capable of, how it has really taught me to block out like any negative self-talk. Like I truly, I mean, I'm a realist. I understand I can't go fucking dunk a basketball, but I do believe like, oh, you can task me with whatever, and like I can take that on, you know, like
it's a beautiful feeling, I'm sure, to like, because it takes a lot to get to that point. Because I mean, you had to prove to yourself
100%. That is
like,
exactly what it is.
I've been there. I can do it. You know?
But I wasn't always that way. When I was kind of starting, I didn't have that track record. So that's one thing that, and you can see right through it when people who haven't put in the hours, they haven't put in the work, they haven't put in the stress and the labor and the fucking tears and the chaos of like this may be gone tomorrow of entrepreneurship, but they try to talk on it, and that's where you want to just punch them in the mouth to be like, you don't fucking know, you have no idea, you're not that guy. You want to be that guy, you're not that guy. And you can see right through it, you know, especially when you start talking to business about people who kind of have some terms, if they've heard some stories, you're like, it's not even worth your time.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's like you do not know the difference between an asset and a liability. You can just tell right away, and just like I don't. We can talk about everything other than business now.
And usually you can see it because you see their life, and you're like, oh, because that flows over into like your life and how you handle your personal finances. You know. So yeah, I think that's. I know it's kind of a long-winded answer to your question, but like I truly just love this stuff, and it's not always easy. It's definitely a job. There are times that I am at work and it is a job. It's got
to be a balancing act. I mean, that's the thing that's so impressive is the ability to balance and to keep your even keel and to not tip too far one way. And, you know, because I feel like that's where people fall off the deep end, really, right? There's no railing on this shit. So it really is like, I can only imagine that with employees and a family and you having to hold yourself accountable, that you versus you and like all that on a daily basis where things change every day, where the landscape of Instagram changes, the landscape of business, the economy, COVID, all this crazy shit.
Dude, COVID is crazy.
That actually makes me think of a question I was going to bring up. So in terms of like growth and like heading to a certain trajectory and getting there, like how do you find like enough like drive to like I guess like you've achieved a lot and like how do you find enough drive to just like continue to like grow and crush? Like what I mean by it is like it first starts with let me replace my income, and then it's like let me get a little more freedom. Okay, let me make sure my wife doesn't have to like work a lot and like so I have time with her when I'm off. And then like you get kind of everything. And then like you kind of like some people, I'm only speaking from experience, you kind of hit a wall where you're like, I don't really need much more. What do you do? What are your tools to break through that wall?
I think one is you have to have some selfish ambitions. You have to have that little 1% of like evil in you that wants to fucking like fucking go. Like
for real.
And that darkness that you can dig into. It's not all fucking cupcakes and positive. Like there's definitely like this fuck you aggressiveness that you have to tap into sometimes. It's also realizing that like, and it goes with like the track record. You've done the things, right? So you tell yourself you can do these things, right? So the more you do them, the more that makes you self-aware of like, oh, this game that I'm playing is easy.
And I'm winning it.
And it's because I'm not chasing money. It's because I'm chasing happiness for myself first, selfishly for myself. Because if I want to be that guy, like when I do this practice almost every day, especially when I'm in the gym, it's easy. We have huge mirrors to where you look yourself. It is uncomfortable to look yourself in the mirror. You're like, am I that guy? Am I the guy that I say I am to every? Am I the guy that's going to show up for my friends or my family? I'm going to be there when they need me. And you know deep down, like if you are being that person or if you're not. If you did something slimy or whatever, like you know, and you have to be super aware. And then if you are, you're like, let's fuck yeah.
So you got a lot of work to do.
Good.
You got to face that.
So you know, I think that's a big one. But then having these like really vain pursuits, like, you know, the example I use all the time is like, it's okay to like, we have businesses to make as much fucking money as we can. Like, I don't run a nonprofit or a charity. Like, I'm not gonna say I don't care to help people. That's not my goal with my business. My goal is to make as much fucking money as I can to take care of my family, my family's future, and my friends around me. I love that because of the hard work I put in, all my employees, at our office have 401ks, full benefits, full dental, full medical, vision. And it's like, I don't have to do that. I could make more money. If money was the biggest driver, then like I wouldn't offer that.
Offer none of that.
And then I would keep that money for myself.
Yeah.
But I want my friends to be taken care of and happy and not have that stress in their life.
Because in the mirror, you're the guy. Like you ask yourself, and you're like, that's what the guy would do.
Yeah,
I'm that guy.
Yeah, totally. So I think that's the motivation is like, and then with that, if you're fucking good to people, then like the money comes. And don't get me wrong, I blow money on stupid shit a lot. I shouldn't say a lot, but I do, and I've tried to get better at it. But I live really conservatively. Like I truly do. I try not to just waste money on shit.
You're saying
is there anything in particular that you've spent money on that was kind of fucking crazy that you were like, geez?
There's probably only one that I really regretted it, and Timmer office, he laughs and busts my balls about it. It's like I'm not one to really wear like chains or anything, but I was in Vegas and
I already love where this is going.
And I'll only wear this thing like tucked in, like.
And you're like, why do I have this?
Oh, dude, 100%. And so you could only maybe see it a little bit here, like even the clasp is all iced out. It was so funny, and it was
it's all iced out.
So you see Joel with this shit outside the shirt, he in a different mode.
I'm probably hammered drunk and like.
Take the fucking chain. This is causing me more problems.
Honestly almost given away because I was just like, this is better for somebody else to have.
No.
But I came home and this is funny as I put it on, ladies. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm looking in the mirror, and my wife's with me, and I'm like, this is I'm listening to way too much rap music. You take this, and I walk away. My wife's like, honey, like you look good. You really liked it. I'm like, she's like, I'm gonna go over to this store. Just go take another look at it. I'm like, she puts it back on me. I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. All right. But that's the only one I probably had buyer's remorse was that. Because it's just silly.
Well, that fades though, right? Right, and then
and then I don't really. Now I can laugh about it.
You can laugh. You're
Oh, dude,
but that's fucking awesome.
But like I don't go and like get loans for cars I can't afford, or like I save when I buy cash for them. You know, like it's that's just like what I do. A lot of. I'm sure my parents even say, well, you should get a loan and help build your credit. It's like, I've never had a loan for anything other than a house, and I have like perfect credit.
You're like, I got credit.
I don't need
You got the one thing.
like.
That brings up a question. Do you, in your early stages, when you did have a little bit, were you leveraging credit to get at, you bought everything, it was just your house with credit?
Oh yeah, house. For sure, yeah.
Okay.
I wish
it was not like you paid cash for also the shop that you built on over there off of Broadway and stuff. So
yeah, so those
are assets. It's okay to fucking use the credit. Yeah.
Well, no, your house. I'd say your house is an asset. I think that's a big one.
Yeah, true. Unless you're Airbnb in it,
Unless you're Airbnb in it, I think that's and that's what's hard is because in America that's typically somebody's biggest asset because it's not a car that's depreciating in value, but they buy a home and they think, oh well, this is going up and up in value. Yes, it 100% is. It's only it will be an asset to you if you decide to sell your house at 500 and then go buy a house for like 300. Yeah. Nobody does that. You buy your house for 5 and you go buy one for 7. Mm-hmm. So it's I wouldn't say I wouldn't list it as like a liability, but it's not an asset that's yes, it's worth money, but it's worth money on your deathbed, and your kids are going to get that money.
Yeah, I kind of figured out it's like an option. You know what I mean? You could turn it to an asset.
You can use, but you can leverage it for loans and stuff.
Exactly.
I know plenty of friends who've done that.
Yeah, if you're living in it, taking up the space, and everybody's living, it's like that's not. It's costing you money a little bit.
I will say you can leverage equity in it to do business stuff. I know plenty of friends who have, and it's worked out, and they pay that loan off. So
cool.
With that place you can, but if you don't own a business and you're not, I think that's just a really big misconception is I have this thing that's worth all this money.
Yeah,
it is, and maybe that'll help you when you're in a hard spot and you got to sell it or something. But
where did you learn business? Did you have a mentor or what was your dad like? Like where did you?
Oh, my dad's blue collar. Yeah, he works in an office now.
Oh, okay.
He's an electrician, and so both my younger brothers kind of really follow in his footsteps. One of them works for the same company he does. My other brother, Connor, works at a Vista. We're all super close. Mm-hmm. We were just at dinner together last night, and 3 of us. And it's just always, I just love those guys. We what I love about my dad too. So he, his office is like 2 blocks from mine, and I just happened to buy the property right by his office. So actually, I had to cancel a lunch with him today. Unfortunately, we put it on the calendar, so we get lunch once a month. Because a couple years went by, we kind of grabbed lunch. I'm like, this is stupid. We're going to regret, he retires in a few years, like not doing lunch at least once a month. So we put it on the calendar.
Cool.
So we'll kick it to tomorrow. But
Nice.
as far as work ethic, it was my dad. Like I remember being a little kid, and my dad, he'd have to, probably be on the job site by 7 a.m. So like I'm sleeping, but I'd hear the front door shut. So then I would run out, I'm probably
Just
my
like your
underwear.
son, probably.
Yeah,
or-
just like my son. I'd be like, Dad, I love you. Bye. And he's like, he'd be getting in his truck, love you, and off to work, But it was dark. My parents had me when they were 19 years old. Wow. So like,
You're the oldest?
I'm the oldest. Yeah. And I got 2 younger brothers.
So a lot of
Yeah.
growing up with them, kind of like they had to kind of work
Dude.
through their struggles.
Oh, dude, my parents still, I joke about this, like they party harder than all of us combined still.
Damn.
Like they were partying when we were born, and they just haven't stopped. And I think that just goes to like, but what's great is like my dad, like, and this has been like our whole life, he only will drink on like Friday and Saturday. Like that is it. And usually it's just Friday. And then especially if we're just like kicking out the lake, we're all drinking kind of all day, but like
That's awesome.
that was their thing. But like always growing up, they go out with their friends on Friday night, give us some money for pizzas. We just have our buddies over, wash our dirt bikes, get ready for the races the next day typically. And
Tight.
yeah. So, but I got my work ethic. When I look at it, I'm like, I got my work ethic from watching my dad. And I think some of that is also just innate within me from him, like in some way from his genes. And then my mom, really, really pushed creativity. I remember her always being excited for all the art stuff I was doing as a kid.
And they stayed together? Like, are they still together?
Yeah, they're still together.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
So how was it? Like, how do you think that you're like, how that trickled down to you and how you were able to positively influence your brothers? Because I feel like that's a big thing. Like the oldest is the kind of it can like
Yeah.
spoil the bunch, or can really, you can see like you guys are all successful.
I don't know if I positively influenced them. They're all like, we're all so different.
We'd have to ask
Yeah.
them.
Like it's funny because we all have like a lot of things in common, but like I'm one that's like a little opposite of them, which is also funny. We were just having this conversation. We all have like the exact same truck, which is really funny. It just happened to be this way. Like they're like within a year of each other. They're all GMCs. I think Casey's a Chevy, but they're all the same. But theirs are fucking jacked up, literally like 6 inches.
Yeah.
Offset. They're just fucking huge trucks. And I was like, the other day, I was like, I should make my truck like look like yours. I'm like, what does that cost? I'm like 10 grand. They're like, yeah, it's probably like 10 grand. I was like, and I really was like, I'm just gonna go do that because I want to be like my brothers. And then I was
Yeah.
like, that's stupid. That's not me. Like
Yeah.
my truck is lifted like 1 inch or whatever. It's got a leveling kit. It's nice and stuff. But I'm not that. I don't want to. But they're more similar in like that regard. They're like definitely blue collar. They work with their hands. They're really fucking talented and just big truck outdoors dudes. Like so yeah. They both live on property.
Did your brothers ever come to you with business ideas? Like,
Oh yeah,
what do you think all the time?
Dude, Connor had one that fucking crushed. He had
Did
an
it?
invention. He sold at Dutch Bros. Dude,
What?
he made like $15,000 one year profit from this fucking thing because he was working at Dutch Bros. And there's a steam thing that
Steam
steams
stick,
milk.
yeah.
Okay, so I used to work at Dutch Bros when I was a kid, 18, whatever, and it was a little like slappy wand thing, and it would steam, turn off, and it was like a lever. And now it's like a knob. So then Connor's like, he's just really good with his hands. So then he moves into like this handyman for Dutch Bros because there's so many now. Kevin hasn't. Connor's like, dude, I keep fucking replacing these knobs. He's like, it should be a lever. I'm like, it's not a lever. I'm like, it was a lever when I was younger. He's like, really? He figures out how to engineer this lever, prototypes it, 3D printed. Then he starts getting it made in China. This is like with none of my help.
Oh,
wow. I helped him with like the photography website. I helped him with some pricing and stuff with Dutch Bros, but he really ran this on his own. And but he would make probably 5,000 to 15,000 every year.
Nice.
And he would just buy dirt bikes and shit with it because he had another job. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
That's so cool.
So he's very entrepreneurial. He came to us last night. Connor and I have always been kind of in what's like an invention we should do. He had some like fucking big truck trailer hitch thing. He's like, dude, it's really simple. And I'm like, fuck, yeah. you know?
Yeah.
So is this in your genes? Like, that's what this is? It sounds like it's like this is you guys. Like,
well, business stuff. When I look at all the businesses that I have, they're all vastly different. So that's where like once you learn it, then you can just do it. You can like repeat it, and then you start finding as you grow. When I realized like, oh, I'm paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to a print shop in the Valley, and I just building this new facility. Why don't I just, and I ran some numbers.
Yeah.
Why don't I just do it for myself? Then I called Grayson because I'm like, hey, dude, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to buy the equipment. Do you want to start a business? It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
Boom, then done. And like right now, like Ramsey and I just had a really great time in Portland meeting. It's like this invite only, all clothing companies. I think most all of them, you know, they're doing multi-million dollars. Nobody's super big. One of them is big. Baseballism, they're big. They do about 25 million a year. But Jonathan, who runs that, is just a fucking animal. He's really smart. So we start picking his brain, and some of the stuff that Ramsey and I want to start is where you realize you're spending, as your network gets bigger and your friends are also businesses, and you might have equity here, and then you have equity together in this business, and you're like, so we realized like one thing we were all paying for is like, you know, bookkeeping, taxes, all this stuff, and we were like, why don't we just own that company?
Yeah.
So we've been like drawing that out because, you know, that's enough to hire employees to do it.
Yep.
So I'm telling John this idea. He's like, dude, we did like 2 years ago. I hired 4 people, and now we kind of have a stand-in CFO and all this stuff. I'm like, what the hell? He goes, yeah. And we started our own insurance company. I'm like, you started your own insurance company?
Yeah.
And he breaks it down. He's like, no, it's perfectly legal, and here's how they work. And he kind of gives us the blueprints. The next morning, Ram's like, yeah, I already looked into it. Like, we can start our own insurance company. And it saves you money.
Yeah.
And then you also get like just a bomb insurance. Like,
Coverage real nice.
you essentially how it works is there's a name for this type of insurance where it's basically a bunch of people. There's like an umbrella company, but you all front money into there, and then like if somebody, because think about it, I've had insurance for 10 years on my businesses,
Never no
paying
claims.
$1,500 a month, and I've had one claim, and I end up being underinsured. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
So most people aren't having claims, right? And you have to find a group that's going to let you in. John's like, dude, I'll let you into ours. And essentially, I think how it breaks down is like if there is a claim, like the umbrella company pays half, and then like these few thousand other companies chip in. And so Jonathan's like, yeah, I might have to chip in like $200 a month, you know. But it's still cheaper for him to do his own and cover all his businesses with like 3 times the insurance.
Yeah.
And but he runs a clothing company, and he's just like, and he owns the real estate in a lot of his wholesale stores outside of baseball stadiums and stuff. And I'm like,
genius.
I'm like, what else have you figured out? They actually have a 3PL because they were already shipping, and now they have 35,000 square feet in Portland, and they're shipping for all these other companies. It's like, why not? You
That's
know,
really smart.
So I think that's where like, it's just very common sense. You know, it's not like I'm like thinking up businesses. It's like, well, what's the need? And then once the numbers make sense, let's just do it. Then we just have to find to do it. Once you find time to do it and get it rolling, then you get the right people, and then you can be hands off. Like the pizza place, we really had to grind for like 3 months to get that thing going, getting the staff, getting all of it ready. But then we're kind of hands off.
And what's the name of the pizza place?
Thunder Pie.
Thunder Pie.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So like, really, those businesses. And I was having this conversation with Grace, and I'm like, what's like the number one reason you think people start businesses? And for me, I thought it was like just to be like fulfilled and happy, right? And he's like, I don't think it's that deep. I think it's maybe something like you're passionate about, and you figure out how to make money doing it. And I was like, yeah, I think that's pretty spot on. It's pretty equal. Mm-hmm. Maybe they kind of go hand in hand. He's like, think about it. It's like, you know, you were good at graphic design. You figured out how to monetize that. That's where you start. He goes, all the other stuff you do, you don't know real estate. You don't know printing. You don't know snack food company. You know, like all these things. You know, I can't make a pizza. But with that, like Grayson, he understood business really well. He didn't know anything about screen printing when he decided to like open a screen print shop, you know, but he knew he could learn enough about it and hire the right people to do it. Yeah.
Did you learn a lot from him when it comes to business, or where did you learn a lot of your business? Like,
I know, I guess I didn't really answer that question.
I'm just curious. Yeah.
Learn it from doing, I guess. Learn it from doing. I do have a mentor, Tyler Lafferty, who I watched him I used to work for him at a ad agency right across the street, pretty much 7-2. And I watched him and Kevin Parker. I worked for Kevin at Dutch Bros, and I watched that dude grind, like go. And then I watched, I was fortunate enough, I got to travel with Tyler a lot and watch him with clients. And also, that's where I really, watching Tyler, he would teach me a lot of business stuff too, just good conversations, little things here and there. But I watched him really enjoy the fruits of his labor and share them with the people around him. He wasn't, and Nick, his business partner, was the same way. Like they weren't stingy with what they were doing because they fully knew they couldn't do it without their whole team.
So when did this relationship start? Where you met?
15, 16 years ago. Yeah, when I got hired I met them. I worked at their first company at 14.4. They took me I got a job at the Inlander. They hit me up like, hey, we heard about you. Can I show you this new company we started? I went to their startup. They're still in business. And then 2008, they laid off like half the staff, and I'd been there like less than a year. So then I got let go from there, but then I got hired on at their parent company, 7-2. So then I started working at 7-2 with like kind of the same group of people. Like it was just a lot of the same clients and stuff.
So how much older is Tyler than you?
Like 10 years. Yeah.
I mean, how important would you say it is for young people to have like a mentor?
It's huge. And it's hard because you need somebody who's like finds a time that will give you that time. And like Tyler and I were just texting the other day because I told him it was kind of cool because he got asked to be this keynote speaker at this event. He hit me up. He's like, hey, I can't do it. Do you want to stand in? And I'm thinking like, okay, like, do I want to? And so I'm emailing with these people back and forth. But one of the things I said, Tyler, I said, I'm really sorry. I feel like a jackass. We need to get back on our monthly meetings. He's like, I know, absolutely. And like, he doesn't have to give me his time once a month, but like we've become friends. We've traveled together, and like, we really do enjoy each other's company, and he sees all this business stuff. When I had to leave 7-2 and put in like my 2 weeks, like, dude, I was like crying. And because I loved my job, and Tyler just stood up, he gave me a big hug. He's like, this is what we've wanted since you started this, because he cares about like the individual. He knows I'm a great asset to his company, but what's a bigger joy for him is to see me go flourish and do my thing. And he's like, this doesn't mean you have to leave in 2 weeks. He goes, hell, if it doesn't work out, just come back. You have a job. He's like, this is awesome. But he was one that really, from a business perspective, like helped me, even with Bison Printing. Like I was gonna like contract another printer, kind of, and not own all this stuff, and just so I didn't have like the financial risk. And Tyler's like, you got to take the risk. He's like, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward, and it's going to be better long term. He's like, just do the print shop, get the equipment. Don't bring somebody else in there and like muddy it up. He's like, you've done the numbers, they make sense. I was like, fuck yeah, you're right, I have. He's like, just do it.
Because I feel like when you get these mentors at such an impressionable age too, it's crazy when you are who you are right now and look back at how much they've added to this piece of who you are, because that's how we become great, right? As people, is just by, kind of observing all these other great people and being able to take little pieces and then kind of make them our own.
Yeah, no, it's huge. And I think, and Tyler really mentored me a lot early on, and then slowly we're getting busy and I'm just doing more things. That meeting isn't monthly. It's, I might not see him for like 4, 5, 6 months. And it was just till recently I was like, man, I have a lot of business owner friends, a lot of people I can lean on, especially Ramsey. He helps me grow a ton and really take risks. And we're peers and we're best friends. And I just love working with the dude. And he's the one person like really in my circle who like loves this shit at the same level I do, like truly loves it, and also has to balance kids and multiple businesses. But it's exciting because like him and I together, I'm like, what do we want to do next? Like, what's the next thing?
Wow.
So yeah, I think so. Mentors kind of so my mentor I had kind of slowly, I wasn't meeting with Tyler as much, but then I'm just surrounding myself with this network of other people that I can lean on. I hire a business coach. I'm on a call with him every week, which is crazy. Wow. Somebody I really looked up to now has become a friend, and like we text, and I'm like, you were like a celebrity to me, and now we're like homies. Like, that's crazy. Like,
That
it's
is
crazy that
crazy.
he gave me his number. He's not, dude, hit me up. And he's saying, like, he said, hey, let me know when you open up the store. I'm going to fly out. It just happened. He's speaking at an event the same time we opened, but he's just in Kalispell, Montana. And then I introduced him to Ramsey because he has a sizable clothing company too. And but this, like, what you see that we're doing, he has on a whole other level. Like, it was so inspiring to go visit him and the facility and see what he has built. And that's where I go back to what you're saying, like, what's like the next, what's the motivation? And you see that,
Yeah.
and you see what he's built, and it's amazing. And you're like, okay, like, people can do this. Like, I can do this. Like, and you see how he takes care of everybody around him. And like, that's kind of his mentality too. He's like, I want to be the guy who can help. Like, if whether it's I'm going to hand you $10,000 or you need a truck, I have the resources. Like, I want all the resources. And you see when he's like, the dude has resources to help people out, you know? And like, and so that's where Rob and I really fire on like a lot of the same level. He also came from like a design photography background and just like poured into creativity. Does music, which is like, as you guys know, like, music is like a whole other side of your brain, you know?
Yep.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to, you know, see that, like, when you put in when you have the integrity and you're really caring about the right things and the people and the overall, like you said, it's the happiness, the vision for your family and the things, like, that's when you do good work, you know, and that's where you're building something that is just so, you know, so community driven too, you know, like you said, you're really giving opportunities to people, like, you're giving people benefits. You're really like doing right by people, where there's a lot of companies who, you know, there's no longevity because they don't take care of people. And then that just burns out, you know?
yeah, if you burn a bridge or you're being selfish, like, that stuff's just, it just turns you into, you're just a different type of human. You just function differently, you know. And a lot of it is I look back and, you know, I don't know the exact Bible verse, but something along the lines like, you know, if God can trust you with a little bit, he's going to trust you with a lot. So it's like, I started in my basement, just like doing something little, and like, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you know. And I want to believe it's not because I am frantically chasing money and doing things to cut cost, you know. It's truly is a genuine love for like the people around me, and knowing that like success truly is happiness. And like, I think a lot of people don't feel like they deserve or that it's even possible to be happy every single day. And, you know, I'm not saying I'm just like super happy every day, but like, I was out on a shoot, and one of my good buddies, Mike, he was the photographer, and he's always telling me to slow down. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. But we were there. My wife was there on the shoot, and he says something like, "You're working too much." And I don't even say anything. And my wife's in the kitchen at the Airbnb. I go, "Emily, how happy am I?" She's like, "You're the happiest person I know. Like, you truly." I was like, "Mike, I'm not working too much, but a lot of people's standard, the 9 to 5, I'm not making insane decisions. I'm not being horrible to people. I'm not, you know, dying. I'm not, you know, I truly do love it." And I think, and I don't view things that either people are like, "Oh, what's your work-life balance?" And that used to put a lot of pressure on me to like what that is. But I realized the game and the system that we're like in, like, it doesn't exist. All the rules of business, all the rules of life only exist because the society, we've made them exist. When you realize there are no rules, you can literally do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And the game's not that insane. And it's just your life. There is not work life. Work is truly anything you put effort to. So like, it doesn't mean it has to make you money.
Yeah, exactly.
Your work could be your work that you're doing with your family or your kids or your craft, your arts and the music. Like, that is work. That's your life. And it's like, I think a lot of people that entrepreneurs and this work-life balance, but I truly have designed my life in a way, and like, selfishly, I want like my people around me all the time. You know, except for in the mornings. Like I like to just work by myself. I think
Yeah.
it's nice and quiet. And
But a part of
like,
your day, a part of your life, like that's what adds color to the canvas is the
Totally.
people that are around you.
yeah, and you can do it any way you want. Your life can look any way you want it to be. But we're told, go to school, go to college, do this, and it's just not the case.
Yo, it's people like you that break out the mold that, can come on this podcast and show people like, hey, this is an example of how, if you have a certain mindset and a certain work ethic and a desire to achieve and to honestly, it was your life that you wanted. You didn't want to have a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You wanted to be able to take these things that you're passionate about and turn it into, you being able to live your freest, best life with your buddies and to do what you want to do. And I think that a lot of people want to do that, but they don't know how to take that first step. So I think that this is,
and that's where a mentor can really, really help. Like if you have somebody who you see, man, this person, say this seems to really have it figured out.
mm-hmm.
Ask them to meet with that person. Pay that person for their time. Even if you can't pay financially, what skill set do you have that you bring value to them? Sweet. Then there's no money exchange. You truly, I do that with a kid right now. He's like a local videographer. He couldn't pay for my time. And I was like, and what was dope is he offered up his video skill. I'm like, dude, Andre, first off, that's fucking awesome. That's exactly what you should have done. And he's been following every week I meet with him. He's been following what I've been saying to the T. And it is awesome. Like it's so cool to see him.
Sick.
Like, dude, it works. And like, he's just a really nice dude. So like, that's where you put in the work. You have to put in the work. I mean, I've recently just been listening to that 10,000 Hour song by Macklemore,
mm-hmm.
and like, man, that like is so deep. He says something along the lines that like, painters aren't born great. They put in the work and that's why they're great painters.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And like, you think about how many hours, like when I saw you on stage at Lucky You,
mm-hmm.
and like that wasn't always probably natural for you to just like boom, boom, just go.
100%.
And it's like, but people probably see that and they're like, oh man, he's like so good. You're like, yeah, because I put in 10,000 fucking hours to be able to do this for this 30 minutes for you right here.
Yeah.
That's why I'm that good. And like, I think that's where a lot of people, I will say, a majority of people do not want to put in the work, and they will put 50 excuses.
Oh God.
Why I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have this. Man, if that's your mindset, to get the fuck out. Like,
yeah, it's so fucking, it's heartbreaking to see people make excuses like
man.
that. And it's just like, God, come on. You're like, you just rise up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because it goes from this is what I want to now sell me on why I should do this. Because it's like, wait, I thought you wanted it.
Yeah, no, that
Get
is
it.
exactly it.
But people do get caught up in the societal shit, and I feel like you need to, that self-reflecting and looking into yourself and being like, I feel like gratitude is what this podcast is all about. But gratitude is that thing that is like, come on, man. Like, there's so much to be, like, for you to work for. People are afraid of work, right? Like you were saying, whether it's like in your own business, whether it's like, with your kids or whatever that work is, right? Yeah. It's just like, I just do my work for the 8 hours and then I do nothing.
Yeah.
It's like where you find happiness and joy in the work and it gives you purpose.
Oh yeah.
Which is one of the, and like suffering, that's one of the things I had a podcast on Bobby's City Chapters podcast. Yeah. We talked about that shit. Like, when you got to suffer to enjoy not suffering. Like, there really is this.
The most growth you have in your life ever is when you have to break through adversity, when something is hard, it could be physically, mentally. Think about this later tonight, when you had the most growth in your life. It's not going to be when things were just good or mediocre. Like, something happened and you had to break through to the other side. And an easy one is go fucking work out. Just go lift weights, and the second your muscles start to burn, keep going. Keep going, because that's where you're really going to build. That's where you're going to, and it's the same thing in life. Like, it's going to get hard. You have to just keep going, because most people are going to stop. It's kind of like when you see like a major league sports game at any level for the first time, you're like, oh fuck, that's why these guys are paid millions. They are far and above better.
Yeah.
It's because yes, there's some natural ability there, but they put in the work way more than where most
100%.
people start, and they broke through that adversity.
Yeah.
And you know, some of that's like mental, like even simply getting out of bed. Like it's not easy for me to get out of bed when my alarm goes off at 5 a.m. I don't always do it. Sometimes I hit snooze till 6, and sometimes I just have to be like, Joel, put your fucking feet on the floor. Just put your feet on the floor. And I turn, I put my feet on the floor, and I just fucking go. And I don't like it. It's not fun. I would a lot of times rather be sleeping.
Once you get up, though, it's like a lot of that, like it's almost in the moment. You're like, I don't want. And then when you're up, and then you're like, I mean, we're moving.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. It's like it's over now.
Yeah.
All that feeling is like, I don't want to. I don't want to do. And that's what working. That's exactly working out. Is that you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And then you do it. And now you're doing it, and you're like, bitch,
Yeah.
this feel good.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it feels great. And then you get done doing it, and then the feeling you carry in yourself after that.
It's huge. And then it allows you to carry yourself throughout the day to where it's like, because you worked out so hard. I do know people are like, well, I went on a run, so I'm going to eat some pizza. Like for me, I'm the opposite. I'm like, oh, I worked out, I went for a run. I'm going to eat healthier.
I want to protect my everything I did.
You know, I want to just stack that even better. I want to like, not only did I work out, but now I'm eating right. Like those are just going to compound. I don't want to erase it and be back at neutral, you know?
No, it makes you feel good. It gives that we need purpose. We crave, like, you know, there's that feeling of being proud, right?
Yeah.
Of being proud of something that you've done and you did, you know, that's why you're saying when you break through adversity, those are the moments that you were feeling the most fulfillment. And that's what we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
We can call it happiness, anything. We just want to be fulfilled people.
Totally. And I think, you know, the way we do that is to find those things that make you happy, find the things that make you thrive, that do challenge you, and make sure you can put yourself, design your life in a way that you can do those every day. You know, I think a lot of people, you just have to start with like what's like your one reason why? Like if you want to do a business or say you want to do music, well, why is that? And write that like number one reason. And constantly go back to that. And then there might be 10 other sub ones under there. And that one reason why will change as your goals change and you grow. That will change, especially after you like hit that goal. You're like, oh, whoa, what I thought was like going to be almost unattainable, like really hard, I'm there now. And then that goes back to like, how do you keep going? That's why, because you surround yourself with people who are doing cool shit and are cheering you on, and like, and it's not even like a vain pursuit of like things.
Yeah.
Those things happen.
Yeah.
You get to fly first class whenever you want because you've worked so fucking hard, and that's not a vain pursuit.
Yeah.
If you asked 99% of people, hey, would you rather sit in first class or you want to sit in economy? I choose first class every fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think there's this stigma that like, you know, you shouldn't be pursuing those vain things like, oh, you're doing business so you can have this and that. It's like,
if that's what I want,
kind of.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, look, they're there and they're there to achieve. And the best feeling is in the world is enjoying those
100%.
and feeling good about it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, yo, I put in the work.
yeah.
So
totally.
I deserve to be here.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, and that's just time off, right? Like, so if you're on a beach, if you're on a vacation, you know, being able to really truly disconnect and be like, no, I earned this.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need to. I don't half-ass all the time to where I need to be worried about shit right now. I went hard, and now I get to not worry about it.
Totally. Because you put in the work. It's totally fine.
And that's a metaphor. So take that in any way, that in any place, right? Whether it's business, your life, working out, your relationship. There's so many different ways that this applies to work.
And that is one thing that Tyler and we had this conversation years ago. We were at Saranac and we ordered lunch, and it came up because we both ordered like a salad, right? And you know, chicken was like $4 extra, and I mean, and even the way the guy approached it, like, well, you guys know like chicken's $4 extra, like
put the chicken on.
And then we have this conversation, and it's so funny. Like, gosh, that guy really seemed like kind of over. Like, hey, are you okay with that? And it's like, yes, we know that.
Yeah.
But like, and then they got into a deeper conversation because he's like, I see so many business owners that, they keep putting money in their business and they'll keep growing it, but they're not taking enough for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's Mark McCowitz writes a book. I'm blanking. It's like, I can't remember, like the 5% or something, but it's basically in that book, he says something like, okay, if you can run your business off $100,000 a month, you sure as fuck can run your business off 95,000. I'm sure you can take that 5,000 and be giving it to yourself. You're smart enough. Like that's not going to make your business fail. Mm-hmm. And so many business owners, or especially when you're starting, you want to put it back in because you see this return. Like, oh, well, if I can invest in more product or this, and there are smart times when you shouldn't be taking money out of your business. But that's one where like you have to enjoy it. And Tyler was like, I've seen so many people grind, and maybe they didn't figure it out, but they didn't even take the money out along the way.
Yeah.
So then they have nothing to show for it.
And sometimes they give up. Like they have a good business that they kind of put to the side because they never paid themselves.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It's like, wait, how does that work?
It kind of, I feel like I'm not a business owner, but I feel like it falls in line with taking care of your people, and when you're taking care of yourself, it allows you to go longer.
Oh, totally.
Go further.
Because you're healthier, you're happier, and that stuff it all works itself out in the wash. If you're good at people, that just comes back tenfold, and that's why Bison Printing is like done. So I was like my first business that was like, oh, I get to like have other people come in here and like we're going to provide their business something. It's not an individual transaction. And like what happened, like people aren't even like price shopping. They would just rather come work with Grayson and I, because they know us, and it's just be good to people, and the money like works itself out. Like we're smart enough to figure that out. It's not always fucking pouring in. There's a lot of times where it can be very stressful, and that's where you have to be like really smart, and you have to have thick skin and like weather that stuff. And
that's also the moment where you get that kind of superficial back against the wall feeling like you did when you were really grinding. And you're just like, I know what to do. I just got to kind of think about what I did in the past. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's fun. Yeah. Sometimes.
Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's like, you're just sleepless. It's like, wait, like racking your brain. Like, how do I fix this? How do we fix this issue? And sometimes there's issues that are so big. You're like, man, this is where it's like, okay, I really have to be a business owner and think bigger. Like this is going to take a month pivot. This isn't like let's change this, and you realize that, and it's like okay, like, and it wasn't really probably until like the last couple of years where like I really started to feel confident, even like talking to people about business stuff. But after doing it for so long, I'm like, fuck, I know this. Like, and it was because finally I was like, I just have to look at like my track record of like what I've been doing and like not shy away from it, And I really do enjoy talking business stuff with, whoever,
Well, I mean, Joel Barbour, a man of his own, but I would say Spokane's Rob Deerdeck too. In a way, very.
I know people call our place the mini fantasy factory.
Because, dude, it's like when like same thing. Like when I watch Rob Deerdeck and shit, he's all about business.
It's crazy.
Oh, so much game, dude. So much game. Yeah. And a lot of similarities, dude. Very inspiring. Yeah, you are so inspiring, bro. You are so inspiring.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
And for real, man, that's why you can't do enough fucking podcasts, because the more people that can even just, hear about this side of shit, because you see it from the website, you see it from the IG post, but to really be able to understand what it takes to the blood, sweat, and tears and the day-to-day grind every single day.
It's every day.
You're not just some fucking, golden god. You know what I mean? You're like, bitch, I don't want to get up either.
Totally.
Right? Yeah. Like, I'm normal. Like,
totally. I think that's what, I mean, I even have some of my friends, they speak like, oh, well, you're just different, man. I'm like, no, I'm not. Yeah, I do think I'm different than you. I do, but I'm still a fucking human. Like,
but you kind of did the work to be different. Yeah, like I'm different because I do different.
Yeah, and I know
it's a choice.
Yeah, and I know that's also what that self-awareness. When I'm like, oh, I know what it's when I look at everybody around me, and I do think differently. I do fire differently. There are some people who roll very similarly. But yeah, I can just lean on that, and it's not some like big ego thing. It's just like, I just know that I know I do this differently, you know?
Well, I know I can say with confidence that there's people around you who just take from that and become a little bit better because they're around you, man. And that's really the most impactful thing you can do. You're doing a business, we're making money, we're building a family, we're doing all this shit. But the thing that you leave behind when you make these younger people more hungry and more focused and move with integrity because they had a role model like you, you know, that's honestly, that's the Lord's work right there.
Yeah,
so,
thanks.
you know, we just, you know, that it was a pleasure to have you on here, man. I know we run out of time here.
Yeah, I mean, if you have any last questions or anything, I got it.
Talk a little bit about provisions and what you did with that, starting up, you know, doing snacks and the pizza, and then talk about anything else that you guys have coming up.
Yeah, real quick, I guess the provisions thing that came from a venture capitalist who just knows our brand, was like, hey, basically wanted to use our brand to sell snack bars and trail mix and stuff. Product was great. We did like 8 months of R&D. We were hands off. We didn't have to front any money. They just wanted a licensing agreement to take the logo. So that was all very promising. The short of it is like, we are still selling that product. We're kind of getting through this first round, but like, I think they mismanaged a lot of money with some other stuff they were doing. So they're basically trying to fund like the next round because they didn't roll that out like they had said they would. So now we're basically donating all the money from those bars sold. We're just donating that money. So that's that. That was one of those things where it was a lot of learning, but a lot of big promises. But that's fun. We kind of just like, cool, we learned from that. It may come back bigger and better, but like right now it's just kind of on a cruise control. You know, the pizza place, that was a fun one. My buddy Ramsey and you guys probably know Ben Poff, who owns Durkin's. The three of us, just like, and this is all Ramsey. Ramsey's like, we were talking about doing a pizza place. I think I brought it up. We were going to Vegas, and on the flight there, we're like, oh man, a pizza place would be cool. And dude, 3 days later, Ramsey's like, dude, there's a fucking pizza place for sale, right? And I'm like, what? So then, his mind just goes crazy. He's like, okay, here's a price, blah, blah. He's just, he just goes to work. And he owns Uno Moss, Hello Sugar, and has an ad agency, Strategy Labs. He's also now my business partner on the great PNW. So that was just like, Ramsey just like made that happen.
Where is Thunder Pizza at?
It's right across from the Davenport Hotel, next door to Nudo.
Oh, okay.
It was a pizza place for years, and it changed hands multiple times.
Yep.
But when it was Fire Pizza originally, we all went there. I'd go there all the time for lunch when I was downtown. And
hey, you can't screw up pizza. Like, come on.
Yeah, what they did is they kind of did, because they eventually brought in sushi.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Brandon knows. Yeah, that sushi table, we own that now. It's downstairs in the basement. And then it changed hands again because that wouldn't work. And then they kind of rebranded. It was slightly charred. COVID hit. That guy was like, fuck, this is not the industry for me. His realtor buys it, tries to spin, and it was just like, we went in there after it was for sale. I went in there to be like, why is this like, we want to see, why is it failing? It was very evident. Like, the branding was bad. They had just bastardized the whole place. Was not as cool as Fire. It was like not at all. It looked like there was like a fake bike with like flowers growing out of it. Like, it was just crazy. And so it was instant like, oh, this place is like nice. We just need to give this thing a facelift. So then, then we did that. It was just been like a blitz the last like 3 months, but we're up and going.
Thunder Pizza, beautiful. And then what, you guys got anything coming? I know I saw some stuff in the Mariners. I know that probably wasn't like a direct collab, or was it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And
was it?
That's been like one of the biggest letdowns. Maybe not the biggest. That's maybe a overextend, but yeah, actually it was. It's probably one of the bigger ones. It may still be happening. They hit us up. We got linked up from a mutual connection to the Seattle Seahawks. And so they were like, yeah, let's go. I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, how soon can you get the product in the collab product? I'm like, 6 weeks maybe if I'm like going. They're like, all right, let's go. 3 weeks in, they're like, oh, shoot, we didn't get approval from MLB. Let's do it next season. I'm like, okay, fine. You guys are hosting the All-Star game. Perfect. We'll do it then. We design it, we get the deck out, they love it, and then it goes time to like roll it out, and they're like, oh, it's All-Star, we're hosting an All-Star game this season, like we have too much stuff, let's go next season. So it's literally be like 3 seasons, but like It's designed, the deck's done, we're just like ready to like go. So that was one as a kid, watching Mariners. Yeah, I know. We want, I mean, that's just like ready to go. So
awesome. And you guys do have some stuff, like you got the legacy stuff, right?
But that's like not there's no copyright infringement or there's no trademarks
But
on
you
that.
guys do have some shit that
Yeah,
you know,
some
the
kind of
fans can
Mariners-esque,
swoop up.
yeah.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah. So we have a couple.
Well, that's exciting. So next
Yeah.
season,
yeah,
maybe.
hopefully next season. Yeah. So
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah.
You know, if there's any other brands that you want to shout out, anybody that you support, any of your friends, anybody who has a business that you fuck with in Spokane, feel free to plug them to anybody watching.
I couldn't even start because the list is so long. This is the second time my wife's called. Hold on, I just want to make sure everybody's okay.
Okay.
Hey, is everybody okay? Oh, just wrapping up. Still, like, literally, like, recording right now. Okay, I'll call you in a minute. Oh, yes, I forgot. We're busy. We have a thing to go to.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Bye. Love you.
There it is.
All right.
So that's
the out.
it's on my calendar too. We even have a shared like sync calendar, and yeah, we have an event at 6:30.
Joel.
We have an
Joel
event
Barbour,
at 6:30.
everybody. Great PNW.
Yes. Thank you, man.
Thanks, guys.
Come on, man. Thank you so much, dude. We seriously
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Well, it is what it is, and it ain't that bad. You leave forever, then you lose what you had. You're the only place called home, called Spokane. You're the only place called home, called Spokane. You're the only place called home, called Spokane.
Joel Barbour, a man of his own. I would say decked.
But theirs are fucking jacked up, literally like 6 inches.
Yeah.
Offset. They're just fucking huge. And the other day I was like, that's stupid. That's not me. Like
yeah.
my deck is lifted like 1 inch.